Hello. Henning here. I'm going to talk to some of the older gentlemen like me. Maybe not. Maybe some of the younger people. Nah, the younger people are internet people and the TikTokers and the face things, what's it called? And no, where the picture disappears, Snapchat, I don't know. I'm too old for this shit. So, I was not even 18, I think I was 17, and I had a summer job at a steel plant thing. Horrible job. I was doing cuts on bits of steel. It smelled, it was heavy, and I was just sitting there and the saw went ooka, 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 ooka all day long, and I was just doing rhythms on that, and I was, trying to pass the time while I had to solve it. Anyway, and then I lived at my grandma's because she was close to that mill, that plant, that factory thing. And I did the job so I could afford a great guitar. And every night I went to my grandma's place, sat on the couch, and had this year's, I think it was 1990. Yep. And I had that year's Ibanez catalog. Now, 1990 meant there were gems in there. There was a flower gem in there. I mean, that was, the Satriani was in there. The Paul Gilbert was in there. You remember that catalog? Every year, we got that Ibanez catalog. And we didn't just flip through it and go like, okay, nice, would like that. No, those were the treasures. Those were the precious. Those were like, we knew every page. Some pages were sticking together, Ibanez managed to have that catalog with all those super desirable things in there, with words that look like Wi-Fi passwords. Only that back in the day, there weren't Wi-Fi passwords because we didn't have Wi-Fi. There was no internet. There was nothing. There was stuck together pieces of paper that had the things on them that we desired. Now, that doesn't really exist anymore, except that Ibanez Germany puts together a beautiful catalog every year because they know, they're smart enough, they know that there are people who are transported back into their childhood and their teenage years, where you go through the Ibanez catalog and you literally just, sit on the toilet or wherever on the balcony, and you just flip through those pages, and it brings us back to, as we old folks call it, a better time. Now, Ibanez isn't stupid. I mean, they're stupid when it comes to locking tuners and model names and all that stuff. But they know that we love flipping through pages of Ibanez guitars. So instead of giving it to us for free every January with the new models, which they will still do, they're giving us all of it, all the years of Ibanez. And no, I'm not getting paid to make this video, and Ibanez gave me this book at 42 Gear Street, but I got a message from them today saying, hey, you can buy this now. And I think it's worth sharing with you that you can buy this now. Now, you have to be a diehard Ibanez fanboy, therefore liking Wi-Fi codes and hating locking tuners, but you might enjoy this if you are an old fart like me who liked that catalog. It's the untold story, which of course, right on the cover, it's a lie. Because if they're telling the story in here, how is it untold? Then it's clearly told, so it should be the, until the release of this book, untold story, but now it's a told story because we're telling you in this book. So, it's a pretty big lie. Also, for 69 bucks, 69, that's a sexual thing. It's not cheap, but God, you want it. It's not a hardcover. It should be a hardcover at 69 bucks, don't you think? But, as a coffee table book, but as a on the pooper book, yeah, also, it's got the Satriani in it. There are many chapters. There are 300 pages. Of course, it's got the Vi on there. But there's a Japanese dude. There's a different Japanese dude. The 6th president. Oh, the 7th president isn't a Japanese dude. I don't know who that is. I mean, I could read this and find out. Oh, that's a cool looking guitar. Introduction, the history of Ibanez, and it goes through it chronologically. So there's, you know, weird guitars. I mean, there's a lot of weird guitars in here. Ibanez trying to be someone else, and they're trying to be Gibson. They haven't found their way yet. Double neck, trying to be Gibson at hopefully a, you know, cheaper rate. There's a Explorers and V's trying to be Gibson. Oh, very much trying to be Gibson. So they haven't found their way yet. Then George Benson comes and never left. And 79, Schofield, never left. There's a reason for that. Kind of Iceman beginnings. So, oh, Alice Cooper Band. Getting to the weird headstocks there. So it's really the full history of Ibanez. Of course, the more we go into our times, crazy guitars. We're in 85 now. We're approaching the Satriani and the Vi era. This is already kind of going towards the Satriani shape there. Some stuff from catalogs. And look, we're getting there. 540R, which was very clearly the precursor to the Satriani guitar. Oh, and here is the big kahuna. I had this from 1987 in green. I had it with Steve Vai's signature. Sold at the Guitar Center for $870. Next day, it was on the wall for $3,500. Now, this is probably 10, 15 grand, probably more. One of the worst things I've ever done. I have the white one. It's not as good as the green one. Yep. I mean, and now we're looking at guitars, oh, Paul Gilbert, that are unmistakably Ibanez. And the stories of where they're made, who they're made for. I mean, it's all in there. Mr. Mattini. There's also a TH on there. Who is this guy? I don't know. Korn? Is that a band? They have many strings on their guitars. Satriani with the silver thing, Crystal Planet one. Oh, that's this see-through one, probably very heavy. Oh, here's the... I had that bass. I had that weird bass out of the ergodyne material. They stopped making that. So how far up to now do we get? 2003? Oh, interesting. It doesn't look like it's super up to date. Nope. When is this book made? Because it's skipping in 2003. There's, yep, that's the last thing in here. So we're kind of missing 20 years of Ibanez in here. Of course, Tube Screamers and all that. But we're missing the AZs, the Quails, the Millers, the Polyphias. When is this book from? First of all, it says in the US it's $39.95. So if you're in the US, you might be able to get this for $39.95. But here it's 69 bucks. When was this released? Why am I advertising a book to you? Which is what I'm officially doing. When the first printing was in 2005, and it's literally missing the last 20 years. No AZs, no Millers, no Polyphias, no any of those bands and the modern people. First print in 2005. Why is this in my hands now? And why am I advertising it to you as this brand new thing? There's a 20-year-old book that you can buy for 69 bucks. That's my point. And if you're an Ibanez diehard fan and you hate locking tuners and like Wi-Fi codes, even here in the 70s, it's the 7375 ASH. That's Ash. That's actually a word. Now that looks like a Rickenbacker copy Wow, they copied a lot of shit. Anyway, if you're an Ibanez fan, you might enjoy this book. Go ahead and buy it if you want to, or don't. It's 20 years old. But you might like all the stuff up to 2003. Nothing newer in there. That was my message to you. Thank you, Ibanez, for giving me a nice present. And maybe like me, you like to flip through pages that contain Ibanez. It brings me back to my childhood. Well, teenage years. Put links below and animals at the end. So I just called Daniel at Ibanez and yelled at him and I said, why are you giving me a 20-year-old book? Okay, here's the skinny people. The guy that wrote it, diehard Ibanez fan, died shortly after the book came out. It was sold for a little bit and then wasn't sold anymore. To the diehard Ibanez fans, this means something, and I can see why. On Reverb and eBay, these books go for like €150 because you can't get them anywhere. Now, Dan, as one of the biggest Ibanez nerds you've ever seen, he even doesn't mind the non-locking tuner thing. The guy's literally like certifiably insane. But okay, he loves Ibanez. In his bedroom, there's a whole wall of cases. No, not just on the wall, of cases. And he pulls out, look at this one, and don't touch it, don't even look at it. You know, kind of like that. So he's a diehard fan. And he found out that Hoshino in the US had some stock of this in their warehouse. And he lobbied for Ibanez Germany to get these books, had them sent over on air freight, which is why they're also now more expensive, because they had to get here, and that means they're being sold at Thomann for $69. And the only reason he did this is as a service to the fans, because he didn't like the price gouging on the used market. So it's limited to whatever stock he has. And he also very much would like to finish the book. There are people who know what happened in the last 20 years. He's one of them. He's certifiably Ibanez nut job. And I think it should continue after 2003 and add a good 20 years to it and talk about all the stuff that happened. Now, Ibanez, if you see this video, please do that because you have an amazing history of your company and the guitars and the artists and everything that happened up to 2003. It is your duty, I said duty, it means poop. It is your duty to the fans to finish this book and bring it out as a new edition with about this many more pages and have an updated version. Because this is beautiful and it shows how dedicated Ibanez Germany is to the crazy nutjob fans, that they flew this in for you because it was just sitting around and people apparently wanted it. That's the story. And now, animals at the end.